All right, so we have a bit of DCU casting news that, surprise, surprise, doesn't have anything to do with lanterns. Who would have thought that was coming? We actually have another really big name entering the DCU, so we presume. So, you know that project Sergeant Rock, and if you don't, that's totally fine, because honestly, before I even reported the news, and if I wasn't even doing this podcast, I may not have even known myself, but a few weeks ago, we reported and talked about the new development that there is going to be a DCU film called Sergeant Rock. And now, I should say that it hasn't been officially confirmed that it's going to be part of the DCU proper, although it is being developed by DC Studios. That much we know for sure. But I think it is all but certain that it will be part of the DCU. In what capacity? Who knows? We have projects like Creature Commandos that it might relate to, with Rick Flag Sr. maybe, or something like that. I don't know. But I think that it will have some connections to the DCU, but also maybe not as many as we'd see with Superman or Brave and the Bold, because, Sergeant Rock is a film that takes place, I believe, during World War II. It could be World War I. I think it's World War II. And it follows the character of Sergeant Rock, who is basically a military sergeant. And I don't think he has any superpowers, but it's kind of about his adventures and what he gets up to there. Again, you can go check out the previous segment we did on Sergeant Rock to kind of just discuss the fact that they're making this movie. Now, what's interesting about this movie is that based on the frequency of news that's been coming out, it seems like this movie is going to come out relatively quick, because James Gunn said recently he was laying out his plans for the rest of the beginnings of the DCU, I should say, Creature Commando, Superman, and then we got Peacemaker season 2. I think he then said we're going to get Lanterns and Supergirl, and then after that there are going to be some projects that we haven't heard about. The other projects that he did announce at that YouTube video, I think a couple years ago now, were things like Swamp Thing, things like Paradise Lost, and Waller, I don't know what happened to that Waller show. So those we know at least were coming at some point, but it looks like other projects have taken precedence. Oh, obviously in Brave and the Bold, the Batman movie. But it looks like, again, other projects have taken precedence, because it seems like this Sergeant Rock movie is going to be fast-tracked a little bit. Now, we have confirmation of who is going to be playing him, and it is none other than the last 007, Daniel Craig, otherwise known as Benoit Blanc, in my heart at least. I love the Knives Out and Glass Onion films. But yeah, Daniel Craig is apparently in talks to be playing Sergeant Rock, and he's going to be teaming up with the director. I'm going to butcher his last name. I presume it's Luca Guadagnino. Is that how you say his name? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm probably very wrong. But, Luca, as I've been referring to him as, directed Challengers, I believe, with Zendaya in it recently, and then also is directing a film called Queer, which I believe Daniel Craig is in. So this would be another collaboration between the two. And it's big news, because Daniel Craig is a bona fide star. He's not obviously to the Dwayne Johnson of movie stars, but he has a huge presence on screen. It's Daniel Craig, doing Glass Onion, doing Knives Out, and obviously doing James Bond, and doing a bunch of other things as well. He has quite the credibility to him. So having him join the superhero franchise would be really interesting. The other thing in this, because all this comes from Deadline, and Deadline, like I've been saying, is a very reputable source. You can pretty much trust that the Deadline sources are correct. And the other thing that the Deadline article says is that the script is in good shape. So again, this leads me to believe that it will be Superman, the first movie, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the second movie, and then probably Sergeant Rock, the third movie, which is kind of weird because we haven't really heard much about James Mangold's Swamp Thing. I mean, Mangold is allegedly doing a Star Wars movie before that, so it makes sense that it's not going to come for a long while. And then we have other, movies that, like The Brave and the Bold, is probably going to be after Sergeant Rock with Andy Muschietti. We have also not heard anything about that movie as well. So it's really interesting, right? Because this is a movie that, frankly, I don't know how it fits into the DCU. Maybe it's just something James Gunn wanted to make, and he's making it because it's been a passion of his. That's how he got, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. I mean, nobody would have really, made those films as the first tentpole films of a new cinematic universe. But hey, they came out and they were great. And now it looks like James Gunn is making whatever he wants to make. And so we'll see how this turns out. But Daniel Craig joining the DCU is very exciting news for sure. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think of Daniel Craig joining the DCU as Sergeant Rock? Is this exciting news, or do you think that maybe this is not good casting? Let me know in the comments down below.